Far over the misty mountains rise.
2012's The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. It's a mixed bag for me. While I like the acting and the characters, I feel like there was too much filler to consider this better than the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Well, I believe this film could have been a little bit better. So the story of this one, it takes place 60 years before the events of the Lords of the Rings trilogy. A younger Bilbo Baggins accompanies 13 dwarves and a wizard in order to reclaim the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug. And from there, it's a film that I pretty much did enjoy despite the issues this one has. I like the acting, the costumes, the visual effects. It all comes together to make for an entertaining movie. Now, I admit this trilogy really should only be in 2 films because there is so much filler in this one. I was really saying, if they would have cut out all this filler, then maybe the movie would have been better because of it. It's just, there are some funny moments throughout this film. I was really saying, if they would have took those moments out, then I would have appreciated this movie even more. Not that it had ruined the film for me, but having these comedic moments, it's a little odd because the original Lords of the Rings trilogy, it was more serious. It didn't have these funny moments throughout it, but at the same time, I could see where it was coming from. They were just trying to do something different. At the end of the day, though, while this film does have problems, it's still enjoyable to watch, to say the least. Now, I haven't read the book that this film is based on, but I do know the characters are interesting. Martin Freeman actually does a good job portraying a younger Bilbo Baggins. Sure, in the beginning, he's cowardly. He doesn't really want to go on this adventure. But near the end of the movie, he proves himself when he saves one of the other characters in this film. And speaking of other characters, it's great seeing Ian McKellen return as Gandalf the Great. Once again, amazing job. I always thought that was a great character in his own right. And certainly, just seeing him be with all these dwarves, going on this journey, it's great. And the dwarves, I say they are an odd bunch of characters. The reason being is because they literally break out in song in the beginning of the film when they go to Bilbo Baggins' house. I was like, this is a little bit odd. I mean, I didn't despise it. It just felt out of place. Because there was no singing in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. And another moment I thought was just as odd was when they get captured by the goblins and the main goblins start singing. I was like, is this a Disney film or is this a Hobbit film? Like, I get this film is not trying to take itself too seriously, but there are moments where you're supposed to take things real seriously. I didn't despise those 2 events. I just thought they fell out of context. Other characters that I like seeing return is Gollum. It was cool seeing that character again. And it also explains how Bilbo Baggins come across the One Ring. What I didn't like is how Bilbo Baggins, not how he gets the ring, but how he puts it on. And I was like, that's sadly like the scene from the first Lords of the Rings movie. Nonetheless, this is a good film. And another character that I have to mention is Doran, played by Richard Armitage. And I was like, oh, he is the leader of these dwarves. And basically, there is a lot of good things that goes on in this movie. This one's not boring. It is entertaining. And at the present time while I'm recording this, I haven't seen the other 2 Hobbit films, so I can't say this is the weakest. But it's certainly not a strong start either. I mean, this film could have probably been a little bit shorter, but at the same time, it's Peter Jackson, so he has to get that lore out. Nonetheless, though, not a horrible film by any stretch of the imagination, but there are issues presented within this one that keeps it to being better, in my opinion. I'm giving this film a 7 out of 10. I thought this one was decent, nothing groundbreaking, and certainly not as good as the Fellowship of the Ring, but I will say that it is good getting backstory on these characters, seeing how Bilbo Baggins comes in contact with the One Ring, because he does have the ring in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring, so it makes sense he came across Gollum in this movie. Sure, there are some people out there that thought this film was pretty awful, but because I don't know the source material, I thought this film was alright. Yes, there could have been improvements. Yes, they waste time doing these other quests that don't contribute to the main plot, But overall, I was pretty satisfied how this movie turned out. And that's my review of The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. My review of The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug is coming out real soon on my channel. Alright, this is Slum Guy 172 saying, peace out.
We never fall.